What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm gonna do a long overdue 8th-month review of the X5 diesel truck that I did the ABC delete on. I had so many requests in regards to this, so here it is. Let's do a proper cold start at first and see how it sounds. Quick change of location. So I'm gonna do some drive-by clips and how does it sound at idle, because that seems to be the number one question. How does it sound from outside? So the most noticeable difference is at idle, and that's pretty much the only way to you be able to tell there has been something done to the car itself. So it has that distinctive diesel, so to speak, growl. But it's quite nice because when you put a little bit of gas on it, it gives you that little bit of whistle. It's not a crazy whistles like that, like some of those heavy-duty trucks, like the Rams or the GMCs give you once you floor it. This just gives you just enough. I quite like it. It's nice. So let me do some rev clips and some drive-by. Those are clips. I did one sort of regular driving, just pulling off from the stop, and the second one was full throttle. As you saw, when you full throttle it, you will get some smoke out of the tailpipes, but that's only at full throttle. Otherwise, when normal driving, there's no smoke at all, as you saw in the first clip, and as well at some idle as well. So as I mentioned before, that's pretty much the only way you'll be able to tell that there's something being done to the car. It has that so to speak growl or some of the hissing sound at the end. It's more like a hissing sound than the actual growl, but it's nice. I kind of like that. It's unique if you ask me. So yeah, so let's take it inside and let's talk about some of the difference I noticed in driving impressions and the sound inside. Now I want to also touch up before I just get inside. Might as well tie in and mention the Brembo upgrade, the big brake kit that I installed prior on this car, because I haven't really touched on that. So here it is, the Brembo big brake kit from the X5M calipers and 395mm massive rotors. You see they fill up the wheel well quite nicely. There's hardly any space left over on a 19-inch rim. So yeah, just want to touch up on this subject, as this is a very good mod for this car as well. The braking performance has improved tremendously, but pretty much I could stop on a dime. And especially when you're towing, you know, I do towing once in a while, and that's noticeable right there. It's a nice direct bolt-on kit. I did a video on how to convert this. There's gonna be a link on top here, so you can just click on the card and it'll take you right to it. But the braking performance has improved tremendously as well. The pedal feel is nice because this is the 4-piston setup now instead of regular single piston floating design caliper. This is a 4-piston fixed caliper, monoblock Brembo caliper. As you can see the difference, kind of small, right? Look up front, that is massive. So the rear's actually going to be 385, so about 10mm smaller, but that will basically make it you look more uniform, because now it kind of looks funny if you ask me, because you got a big front and a small rear. But like I mentioned, the braking performance has improved tremendously, so I would highly recommend getting yourself this kit as well. Let's get inside the car and let's talk about the driving impressions from inside the cabin. All right, so let's talk about the driving impressions inside the car, inside the cabin. Any big changes, and do I like it? Well, let's first address the sound from now compared to before. Basically, nothing has changed inside. It's a still quiet car. You can't really tell that there's something that has been done to the exhaust system. I mean, I'm talking, even if I floor it, it doesn't, there's nothing that, there's no excessive sound. So sound-wise, inside, it's basically just like it was before. I'll probably have to delete the muffler to get some kind of increase in the volume or in the sound of the car inside the cabin, but which is nice. I like this, that it's quiet, because after all, this is a SUV. This is not a race car. It's not supposed to be loud. So I kind of enjoy the fact that it's not noticeable inside. It's the quiet car when you want to go on long trips. It's still very nice and pleasant environment to be in. Now let me talk about, because I did not mention much about this in the install video. There's gonna be links somewhere around the screen, so if you want to check that out, how to perform this ABC delete, you can go check it out right there. But along with the hardware part, you will need a tool in order to make all this work. A reason I did not mention or talk about any tunes is the tuner that did the tune for me asked me to keep it confidential for obvious reasons, as some of you might know. So that's why I'm not gonna mention who did the tune for me, but I'll tell you this much. If you Google all the tuners for this platform, I'm sure you'll find them. All right, the big changes aside from the power, I'm gonna talk about a little bit what changed in terms of fuel economy, and that will basically that'll be depending on the individual. So let me just share my experience, what's going on in terms of the fuel economy after this whole process. With about 10,000 miles that I've done after this conversion, I would say the average fuel economy went up maybe by a gallon. Sometimes it stayed the same. So I average about 27 miles to the gallon combined driving highway and cities. Before I was averaging about 26.3 according to the onboard computer. So it did go up. With all this power that you have, you tend to drive hard. At least I am. I'm driving much harder than I was before, so it probably could have been improved more, but I really don't mind. I mean, the car this size, 2.5 ton SUV, averaging 27 miles to the gallon is phenomenal. I must mention that the gas mileage in the summertime is more noticeable than in winter. Now, reason being is the diesel likes to run warm, and in diesel months, when it's on the stock system, there's exhaust gases being recirculated in EGR cooler, and that makes the temperature of the diesel higher for that matter. And since that has been disabled, the car runs cooler overall than it does prior to the delete. So with the winter months, like when it's like outside is like 30, 20, 25 degrees, I noticed that there's no change and maybe slight decrease in gas mileage, especially when it's cold, because the car is not running as hot as it was before, because it does not do the recirculation of the EGR and stuff like that, because all that stuff has been disabled. In summer times like this, when outside right now is like 90 degrees, it's scorching hot, this is where you actually could see the improvement in the gas mileage. The biggest difference in terms of gas mileage is on the highway. In the city, I would pretty much call it flat, the same as it was. When you get on the long drives, I usually drive like 75, 80. That's my average on the highway. I get up to like 30 miles to the gallon, which is still phenomenal. I mean, if you kept it at 65, you'll probably do like 34. But I'm not one of those people. So, but anyhow, I mean, but again, that's all depends how heavy your foot is, and with all this power, it could be it could get heavier much quicker than it was before, because the torque is immense in this now. I mean, I think it's like 560 or something like that, compared to the stock, which was like I believe like 405 if I'm not mistaken. And the horsepower number is about 380-ish, I would say 389, compared to the stock, which was at 250. So there's a big jump. Now it all varies by comfort modes. In comfort mode, you could sense the power, but it's not that noticeable. It is noticeable. Here's some driving and shifting points with some moderate throttle. The shifting is nice and smooth, and the power delivery is nice and linear. Like before the tune and the delete, the power would kind of die off like around 4,000 RPM, and now it pulls much harder to all the way to around 4.5 or 5,000 RPMs. You could feel the bump, you could feel the oomph, and when you press it even like say halfway, you could feel you're being pulled into the seat, which is much harder than you did before. But in terms of like the real power, if you put it on sport, or like I have it coded, I have a sport plus option enabled as well, the shifting and the power is immense. In sport mode, right there. This is about half throttle, and then you floor it and it just pulls you back. It's the torque from around say 1,500 RPM to up to 3,000 is just, it's killer. And does the nice shifting, downshifting as well. Pulls hard all the way till 4,500 RPM, which is nice. You would not imagine this from a SUV, that the torque delivery and how it throws you back into the seat is quite nice, I must say. I did a 0 to 60 video prior. I'm gonna dig it up and I'm gonna do a comparison. I haven't done this, so I'm gonna be doing this right now, so I don't know what the numbers are. I know that the original before the Elite, I was able to squeeze out about, I think, a low 6-second 0 to 60 time. So I'm gonna try to record this momentarily. Now, in the 10,000 miles that I covered with this, did I encounter any issues like check engine lights or anything like that? None. Knock on wood. Some fake wood over here. There has not been one issue with any check engine lights, any errors. Basically, all I do is change the oil and put diesel in it, and just have fun with it. I mean, have I known this before, I probably do this modification much sooner than I did it, but I'm glad I did it. It was a time-consuming process, but it was worth every minute of it. It's I like how the car drives, and there's a change, but there's not a drastic change in terms of, like I mentioned before, in terms of being obnoxious and loud. It's still a comfortable car. The most notable difference is at idle, which I demonstrated before in some drive-by clips, as you saw in the earlier part of this review. So let's see. I'm gonna play a clip from a 0 to 60 time that I did prior to the Delete. This was in about 8 months ago, before I did the Delete. So it was quite cold. Today is about 90 degrees. And then I'm gonna record 0 to 60 time and see what are the actual, if I could even capture the time difference. But I'm assuming there has to be quite a big difference, because there's definitely a high bump in the power output. So I did what I did for the 0 to 60 time. I have a launch sequence enabled, coded in this as well. So that makes the 0 to 60 numbers a little better, because I know I mentioned before, the original prior to the Delete, I recorded low 60s, and from reading online, most car magazines and reviews recorded like times of 7 seconds, but they just went from just stand still and no launch control. So I think the launch control does improve the 0 to 60 time, so I'm gonna be doing that, so it's apples to apples comparison. So here we go. Here's one before, and right after is gonna be one now I'm gonna complete right now. So that was the comparison between the before and after the delete, the 0 to 60 acceleration. I don't know exact time yet because I have to count the frames, but you pretty much get the idea. By the way, how do you activate the launch control if you do have it coded? Because this is not standard on the X5 at least. All you have to do is put your left foot on the brake, put your sport setting into Sport Plus like I have right now. Sports Plus is not standard either on this car. They only come with Sport, so you have to enable that. And then all you do is put it into drive and put it into manual. The once you do that, you get a S1 on the screen, and then all you do, I'm not going to do it right now, but you just floor it. There's gonna be a icon here that's gonna show launch control active. Then you just release the brake and you off. Like you basically like from a slingshot, because the torque is insane now when you put it in Sport Plus, like I mentioned before. I think I pretty much covered everything so far in regards to this mod. One thing I did not mention is there any exhaust smell? Well, honestly there is, but then again, it's like with MPGs, like some individuals will bother them and some it will not. Basically for me, it does not bother me at all. I mean, if you stand behind the car for more than like 5 minutes, like say distance maybe like 3 foot or so from the car behind directly, you will notice the diesel smell. But other than that, like once you're getting into the car is idling, you will not really notice that. Some people will not like the diesel smell, and some people like me don't mind at all. So to me it's just fine. Now I think I covered everything finally, so hopefully this has answered some of the questions some of you guys have had in regards to this delete. Again, I'm very satisfied with it and would do it in a heartbeat all over again. If you enjoyed this content, hit that like button. Consider subscribing for more videos that are be coming to the channel. And I will catch you on the next one. Peace.